So yesterday we saw Sadeva Somya Idamagra Asid Ekam Eva Advitiyam. That this whole world is actually Sat, and it was pure being in pure existence when before creation. Meaning that Sat alone was there with names and forms unmanifest. And creation is nothing but the manifestation of names and forms. And that Sat is Eka. It is one. Eva. It is one alone. There's no other Sat, no other types of existence. Advitiya. It is without another. One alone without a second. And this existence is partless. It's a partless existence that is in and through everything and yet beyond everything. Very much like how space is partless, existence is partless. Very much how like space is as though divided into hall space and corridor space and dining space, existence is as though divided into this existence and that existence and that existence. But it's just as though divided by names and forms. And we saw yesterday how creation took place in this particular Upanishad. It is through Trivrit Karanam. In Tattva Bodha, as you would have studied, it's Panchikaranam, the 5 elements. Here it is from fire, water, and earth. What happened to space and air? Space and air are to be understood because everything exists in space And because of air, there's movement. Air is that which provides movement. And on space and air, then there's fire, water, and earth. And so everything was created. The subtle elements, fire, water, earth. And then, when the subtle elements were created, anena jivena atmana anupravishya. That sat, as though entered all beings, as its reflection. Just as through my face, when there's a mirror here, automatically there's a reflection. And those reflections needed bodies and places to stay. So the elements became grossified. And it's called Trivritkarana. So in each fire element, there's 50% fire, 25% water, 25% earth. And then in water, same way, 50% water, 25% fire, 25% earth. And then in earth, 50% earth, then 25% fire, 25% water. And in that way, anything that we find is fire, water, and earth. And they gave 4 examples, right? So the examples were the sun, the moon, and lightning, and fire. If we take away these 3 elements from anything, be it the sun, the moon, lightning, fire, that very thing will dissolve, right? If you take the sun and you take away what is red, the fire element. You take away what is white, the water element. You take away what is black, the earth element. That very sun is no more there. Because the sun is actually just a combination and permutation of these elements. And furthermore, if you take away existence from these 3 elements, they're gone. They're not anymore there. So we say that this creation is vacharambhanam. It is just based on speech. This vikara, this product called the world, it is namadhyam. It is just namesake. Whenever there is a new name, there is no new substance, right? For example, there's gold, there's a bracelet, a bangle, an earring. These are all new names, new forms. But is it a new substance? No, right? It's not a new substance. It's just a new name. It's just a new form. It's just a new usage. And in fact, is there a weight to the name? Or the form, or the usage? No. All the weight lies in gold. So because the creation or the manifestations of these different names and forms and functions is not a new substance. It's the same substance that's just appearing. So we say that it's vacharambhanam, because it's just actually a word that's appearing. It's a word, a name, a form, and a function. That's all that's appearing. It's the same goal that's appearing as other things. In the same way, it's the same existence that's appearing as everything. So this world, in essence, is actually nothing but pure existence or pure being. And it will not stand without it. So that is what we call Sat. The substance, the substratum of the whole entire world, that which is partless, that which is one, non-dual, that is Sat. Now, as we understand what Sat is in the world, or with reference to the world, now we're going to understand Sat, or pure existence, with reference to us. Because after all, we're entering into the Mahavakya, Tat Tvam Asi. Right? So one aspect of the Mahavakya is Tat. Tat means that Sat with reference to the world. And Tvam means that Sat with reference to the individual. And the Mahavakya, it unites these two. It says that Sat, which is the essence of the world, and that Sat, which is the essence of the individual, is one and the same. Right? That is what we're coming to through this Upanishad. So we have seen Sat with respect to the world, Sat as the essence of the world. Right? I hope that's clear, that it is a substance. There is actually nothing that can exist without existence. Right? Now, let's come to Sat with reference to the individual. We are on the 5th section, Panchama Khanda, on page 37. Annam ashitam tredha vidhiyate tasya yastavishto dhatuhu tat purisham bhavati yo madhyamaha tan mamsam yo anishtaha tan manaha. Okay. So, annam ashitam. Annam, that food which is ashitam, which is eaten. Tredha vidhiyate, it becomes divided into 3 parts. Tasya, of that, annam, annasya, yastavishto dhatuhu, the grossest ingredient, stavishta, the grossest ingredient, what happens? Tat purisham, it becomes feces. It becomes feces that it's to be discarded. Then, yo madhyamaha, that which is the middle part of the food, that becomes mamsam, flesh. Yo anishtaha, that which is the subtlest essence, tan manaha, becomes the mind. So this is a very, very beautiful thing. Now think about it. When we eat food, what happens? When we eat food, the grossest part of it, which is to be rejected, we reject out. The middling portion of food, it becomes all this flesh and fat that you see, right? That's why when we eat more, we become fatter, right? Whenever Swami's Brahmacharini comes, everyone becomes fatter. Right? Lots of pictures taking place, right? Then the subtlest essence of food, it makes the mind. Many people ask, what is the mind and how is the mind made? The subtlest essence of food is the mind. How is that? Very simple. Just think what happens when people drink a lot of coffee. What is the mind like? Very agitated, very, very buzzy, right? When people drink alcohol, lots of alcohol, what happens? Mind is so hazy. There's no clarity. So that food which we take in, it has an effect on the mind. When we eat sattvic food, what happens? The mind also becomes pure, fresh, alert, right? So he's saying here that this food, the subtlest portion of it, makes the mind. And that's why with food, there are 3 types of doshas that could happen with food. The first one is called Swarupa dosha. Means that in essence, the nature of that food itself is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. For example, junk food, right? That has a very either if it's a spicy junk food, it will get people very rajasic. Or chocolate, candy, sugar. We all know what happens when the kids eat a lot of sugar, right? We're in for a lot of trouble. So some foods, in them, there's already a rajasic content or a sattvic content, like let's say sattvic content with fruits, or a tamasic content, like with alcohol. The second one is ashraya dosha. Ashraya dosha means where the food is cooked. Because sometimes it's cooked in a vessel which is quite dirty. The example that they give is something that, people are cooking in Bharat, when people are cooking, the crows come and they go, so the droppings of the crow would have fallen, something like that would have happened. So the vessel in which we cook also, that matters. And this is nimitta dosha, this is actually nimitta dosha. The third one is ashraya dosha, means the one who's cooking the food. The one who's cooking the food, that also has an effect on the food. Huh? So if somebody is cooking and they're in a good mood, people who are eating that food will be very hale and happy and hearty. But if the one who's cooking the food, they're crying and everything, the person who eats it also will feel that in the food. So that annam is also a very important part, because the subtlest portion does make up our mind. And even the way we earn that money for food, that also matters. So, it is said that food makes the mind, but please don't think only that physical food. Also, the food of the senses, meaning what we see, we hear, we smell, we taste, we touch, that also makes our mind. And our vasanas also, they make up our mind. But what Uddalaka Rishi wants to say is, this, I'm going to show you how the elements are in you. So that food element is in you. It's in that which you reject, it is in your flesh and it is in your mind. Now, he will show how the water element is in us. Okay? So next mantra. Apa pitaha tredha vidhiyante tasam yastavishto dhatuhu tan mudram bhavati yo madhyamaha tallohitam yo nishtaha sapranaha. So now let's take up water. How is water in us? So he says, think about it in 3 layers again. Apaha pitaha, that water which we drink, tredha vidhiyante, it becomes divided into 3. Tasam, because Abha is Bahuvachanam, it's plural. Yastavishto dhatu, the grossest form, the grossest part of Apa is Mutra, it's urine. Right? So the more we drink water, the more we go to the bathroom. That is, or you can also say sweat. So sweat is in us, right? So we reject this part of water. The grossest form of water, we reject it. Yo madhyamaha, the middle part of water, what is it? Lohitam, it becomes blood. That's how we have some liquid blood in our bodies, because of water. And yo anishtaha, that which is the subtlest portion of water, is our pranas. It's our pranas. And that's why when we're dehydrated, we can't do anything. Now Super Bowl Sunday was there. What happened? Every time they take breaks and they drink a lot of water. And Gatorade also, they want to advertise. So many people pay money for them to drink Gatorade or drink whatever. Because they have to keep themselves hydrated. All the 5 pranas. Prana, that's respiration. Right? If we're not drinking enough water, we get dehydrated, especially when we're on a trek or we're climbing somewhere. We need water. Apana, excretion. If we don't drink a lot of water, we cannot excrete also. Vyana, circulation. If we don't have enough water, the blood cannot circulate properly. Udana is that which facilitates thinking. When we don't have enough water, we can't think. We can't think straight. And samana, digestion. To have proper digestion, that's why some people, after eating a lot, we drink hot water. That's to facilitate digestion, right? So all of this water element is seen in all these 3 levels in our system. In our urine, in our blood, in our pranas. And if we don't have enough water, we are breathless. And that's why whenever people wanted to find life They would look for the body of water, right? When you find a body of water, you know there's going to be animals, you know there's going to be people. And our Saraswati civilization started, we knew that there were people because there was a Saraswati river, right? So this is water. So water is very much in us. So not just the world, but in us. There is that earth element, it's a water element. And in us also, there is fire. So let us see now the next mantra. Tejo ashitam tredha vidhiyate tasya yastavishto dhatuhu tadasthi bhavati yo madhyamaha samajja yo anishtaha sabak. So teja ashitam, that fire which is eaten. Now we're going to look at how do we eat fire, right? We're not those people in the circuses that eat fire and all of that. See, if you look at the plant, correct? The plant also gets nourishment from fire, air, and water. Fire, water, and earth. Fire, water, and earth. The fire element, the sun, when it shines on the plants produce oily substance. That is how we have oil in seeds and in plants. That's how we can make aloe vera oil or sesame oil or canola oil. Because when the sun, the fire element, lends its power to plants, it produces some oily substance. And of course, when the water element lends itself to the plants, they produce juice. That's why we have orange juice, apple juice. There is some rasa there, right? And then when the earth element lends itself to the plants, because there's the soil, all of our plants are built, they're grown in soil, then that is what produces the actual food or the fruit or the crop. So in these plants, what we will see is these three, the fire element, water, and the earth element. So that fire produces oil in plants. So when we intake oil or ghee, that is fire to us. And that is why oil or ghee also is what fuels fire. Correct? Because they have a fire element in it. In science, there's a rule that things can only interact if they have the same permutation combination. Right? Like we can only interact with this if we're made of the same stuff. Because we're made of the same stuff, we are able to interact in the world which is made of the same stuff. In Chandogya Upanishad, the short form is Tejo Banna, fire and water and earth. So Tejo Ashita means the oil, the ghee that we eat. Oil, ghee that we eat. Tredha vidhiyate, it gets divided into three. Tasya yastavishto dhatu. In the grossest form, it forms our bones. Right? The middling part, Yo madhyamaha, the middling part, samajja, it becomes the bone marrow. That's why, when people have joint pains, in Ayurveda, what do they prescribe? Put Ayurvedic oil. Because fire element. So our rishis were absolute geniuses, right? This is like when you read it, you're like, absolute geniuses, right? When there's pain and everything, people massage the bones area with oil. Then, yo anishtha, that the subtlest becomes vak, speech. And that's why singers and all chanters, they take ghee. When they take ghee, it helps lubricate their throat. Yeah. So Vedic chanters, they take a lot of ghee so that they're able to chant continuous. So in this way, Uddalaka Rishi says, listen, fire, water, earth, it's there around you, but it's in you also, Shvetaketu. So he says, Annamayam hi somya manaha apomayah pranaha tejomayi vakiti bhuya eva ma bhagavan vignapayat viti tatha somyeti hovacha. Whenever you see an iti, it is like quotation marks, huh? Because there's going to be a lot of back and forth between Uddalaka Rishi and Shwetaketu. So Uddalaka Rishi says, Annamayam hi somya manaha. Don't you know that your mind is Annamaya? It is just a modification of food, of the earth element. That is your mind. Apomaya pranaha. And your pranas is just a modification of water. Tejomayi vak. And your speech is just a modification of fire. Don't you get it, Shwetaketu? And Shwetaketu says, no. Bhuya eva ma bhagavan vignapayatu. Means, please explain to me again. I don't get it. Tatha Somya. Uddalaka Rishi says, okay, Somya, I'll explain it to you. Iti uvacha. This is what Uddalaka Rishi said. Shwetaketu is thinking, this is very confusing. Because it's not like when I eat food, I say the grossest form goes here, and the middling form goes here, and the subtlest form goes on top. I don't get it, When I eat food, it's all one go. I am not dividing it in any way. And who is dividing this food? When I eat something, I just put it in my mouth. I'm not thinking where it's going, how it's being divided, how the subtlest is coming on top. I don't understand that. So Uddalaka Rishi says, don't worry, Shwetaketu, I'll give you an example. So let us see what he says in section 6. Dadna somya madhyamanasya yo anima sa urdhvas samudishati tat sarpir bhavati. So he says, Uddalaka Rishi says, okay, wait. Dadna means take curd. Take curd, okay? Somya, of this curd, madhyamanasya, of the curd that is churned. You keep churning the curd. Yo arima, the subtlest portion of it, urdhva samudishati, it rises. Isn't it? When you churn the curd, keep churning. Now they put in a blender. So you press the blender, right? And the subtlest form, it rises on top. And what happens? Tat saripir bhavati. It becomes butter, right? So Uddalaka Rishi says, same thing. Evameva khalu somya annasya ashyamanasya yo arima sa urvas samudishati tanmano bhavati. He says, evam, in the same way alone, khalu, indeed, Somya, in the same way, annasya, of that food, ashyamanasya, of that food which is eaten, yo arima, that subtlest portion of food that is eaten, so urva samudishati, it rises. And after digestion, this is our churning, after digestion, it rises, and tanmano bhavati, becomes your mind. Exactly what happens with churning of this milk, churning of curd, butter rises. Same way, when we are churned in digestion, subtlest portion becomes the mind. Then he says, apam somya piyamananam yo arima sa urdhvas samudishati saprano bhavati. Apam somya, you take water. water, Somya. Piyamananam, of that water which is drunk. What happens? Yo anima, the subtlest part of the water which is drunk, sa urdhva samudishati, it rises. Sa prano bhavati, and it becomes prana. So the water that we drink, when it's digested, the subtlest portion of it becomes our prana. And that's why if we don't drink water, we die. Correct? Pranas are gone. Right? So we can maybe survive without food, but not without water. Then he says, Tejasa Sobhya Ashyamanasya Yo Anima Sa Urva Samudishati Savag Bhavati. So he says same thing of fire, Tejas. Sobhya, Ashyamanasya, of that fire which is eaten, meaning the oil, the ghee which is eaten. Yo anima, that subtlest portion, sa urva samudishati, it rises above. Savag bhavati, it becomes our speech. So Uddalaka Rishi says, understood? What's our conclusion? Again the same conclusion. Annamayam visomya manaha Apomaya pranaha Tejomayi vagiti Bhuya eva ma bhagavan Vinyapayat viti Tatha somyeti hovacha. So he says, do you get it now? Annamaya visomya manaha. The mind is made up of food. Apomaya pranaha. Pranas are made of water. Tejomayi vag iti. That vak, speech is made of fire. Do you get it? Bhuya ema mag bhagavan. I don't get it. Vinyapayatu. Teach me again. Tatha somya. Okay, somya. Now this time, Uddalaka Rishi is going to go even deeper. He's going to say, I'm not going to tell you, now I'm going to experiment with you, oh Shwetaketu. So Uddalaka Rishi says, let's do an experiment, Shwetaketu. What is the experiment? Shodashakala Sobhya Purushaha Panchadasha Ahani Ma Ashihi Kamam abah piba Apomaya pranaha Na pibataha Vichhetsyate iti. Oh, he says, now, Somya, Shwetaketu, Shodasha Kala Somya Purusha. He says that we are all beings. Purusha means beings which have Shodasha Kala, 16 parts. So we are all beings that have 16 parts. What these 16 are, it is said in your book, I'll also read it out. There's different versions in different Upanishads, right? So in Prashna Upanishad, it says the 16 aspects are there. Prana, life, Shraddha, faith, Kham, space, Vayu, air, Jyoti, light, Apa, water, Prithvi, earth, Indriyam, sense organs, Manaha, mind, Annam, food, Viryam, vitality, Tapa, austerity, Mantraha, means mantras, Karma, action, Lokaha, fields of experience, and Nama, name. So according to Prashna Upanishad, this is what the 16 aspects are. Right? The senses, the mind, our karmas, our karma phalas, our names, all of these form the 16 aspects. Then when we come to Aitareya Upanishad, it says now there are 16 different aspects. Sanjnanam, sentience. Ajnanam, rulership. Vijnanam, knowledge. Prajnanam, presence of mind. Medha, memory. Drishti, perception. Dhriti, fortitude. Mati, thinking. Manisha, independent thinking. Jyoti, mental suffering. Smriti, memory. Sankalpa, ascertaining. Kratu, resolution. Asu, life-sustaining activity. Kama, desire. And Vasha, passion. So like this, there are 16 aspects to us. 16 aspects to us. So all of these are there in us. So he says, now what I want you to do, Shvetaketu, Panchadasha Ahani, for 15 days. We have 16 aspects. For 15 days, Ma Ashihi, don't eat. Don't eat for 15 days. Good thing we're not Shvetaketu. We would not survive without Rishi's experiment, right? Don't eat for 15 days. But Kamam Apaf Piba means drink water as much as you need. Because without water, remember, we won't survive. Water is prana. Apomayaf prana. Water is prana. Water is that which gives us prana. Napibataha vichetsyata means if you don't drink, the one who doesn't drink, pibataha, the one who doesn't drink water, then prana is cut off. Right? So if you don't drink, your prana will be cut off. So fast. So Shvetaketu does exactly what his father says, because he says, I want to learn this knowledge that my father knows. I want to understand how I'm also Sat, right? So he doesn't eat. He doesn't eat, and then he goes back to Udalaka Rishi. So, second mantra now. Saha Panchadasha Ahani Na Asha Atha Hi Enam Upasasada Kim Bravi Vibho Iti Richasomya Yajushi Samaniti Sahovacha Navaima Pratibhanti Boho Iti. What happens now to Shvetaketu? Saha Shvetaketu Panchadasha Ahani for 15 days na asha. He didn't eat. Exactly, he did what he was told. Then what happens? Atha, then enam ha upasasada. He approached his father. He approached his father. He said, Kim bravimi? What will I say now? Kim bravimi boho? Oh father, what will I say? And Udalaka Rishi says, Richa, Rig Veda, chant Rig Veda. Yajumshi, chant Yajur Veda. Samaniti, chant Sama Veda. And then Shvetaketu is thinking, oh my goodness. Saho Vacha, he said, Nave ma pratibhanti boho. I can't remember anything. Nothing is coming to my mind right now. Iti. Now, just see. Oh, this is such a powerful insight. Huh? We think that our mind is it has its own sentiency. We think it has its own sentiency. We think it's an independent entity, it's a thinking entity. But the mind is actually matter. The mind is matter. It is nothing but Anna. It is that earth. Because without that, we cannot think. Without food, we cannot think, we cannot plan, we cannot clearly see. And so, if without food there is no mind, that means that mind is the cause of food. And this is directly proven by an experiment. So the mind is matter. Many people have a hard time understanding, how is mind matter? How is mind matter? It's matter. It's matter. That mind which we value so much, which we identify so much, and we feel like this is me, this is my mind, this is how I feel. It's just matter. It's only matter. And And so Uddalaka Rishi says, now let me tell you something. Tamho vacha yatha surya mahato abhyahitasya eko angaraha khadyotamatraha parishishtasya tena tatopi na bahudahed evam somya te shodashanam kalanam eka kala atishishtasya taya etarhi vedan anubhavasi ashana atha vivijñasyasi iti. So, tam means to Shvetaketu. O Vacha, the father said, Somya, oh my dear boy, yatha mahataha abhyahitasya. Just as from a great big fire, right? Eko ankaraha khadyotamatraha parishishtaha syat. If from this great big fire only one was remaining, one little fragment, khadyotamatra, like a firefly, one glowing fragment was remaining, tena tadopi na bahudahed, means that you cannot burn anything with that. Right? There was a large fire, and now it's reduced to one small spark. We cannot burn anything with that. And because of that, evam somya, in the same way, te shodashanam kalanam, of these 16 aspects, 16 kalas that were there, eka kala atishishta syat. There's only one little kala that's left. Paya etarhi. And by that, because of that, Vedan na anubhavasi. You don't remember the Vedas. Because only one little spark is remaining. Therefore, ashana, you go eat. Atame vijñasyasi iti. Then you will know. So Shvetaketu said, okay, I will go ahead. Saha Asha Atah enam upasasada Tamha Yat kincha papracha Sarvam ha pratipede Tam hovacha Yatha somya Mahato abhyahitasya ekam angaram khadyotamatram parishishtam tam trinehi pasamadhaya prajvalye tena tatopi bahudahe. So now, Sa, that Shvetaketu, Saha Asha. He went to eat. There comes Shvetaketu went to eat. Atha ha enam upasasada. Then he went next to his father. And tam ha yat kinchit papracha. Whatever his father asked him, papracha, sarvam ha pratipede. Everything he knew, because he ate. So he ate, his mind was back. You see this mind is matter, and it shrinks and it grows. It shrinks and it grows. And we identify with such a thing. And so, tam ho vacha, to that Shvetaketu, the father said, yatha somya. O somya, just as Mahato abhyahitasya, of a great big fire. Ekam angaram khadyotamatram parishishtam. There's one little kadyota matra, little bit remaining of that big fire, parishishtam, tam trinehi. But if we add straw to it, upasamadhaya, we add it, prajvali. Again it sparks up. Again it becomes larger and larger and larger and larger. And he says, tena tatopi bhavadahet. By those straws that we add, it becomes again a big fire. So, Shwetaketu, he says, evam somya te shodashanam kalanam eka kala atishishta bhut sa annena upasamahita prajvali taya etarhi vedan anubhavasi annamayam hi somya manaha apomayah pranaha tejomayi vagiti tadha asya vijajñau iti. So he says, listen Somya, evam Somya, te shodashanam kalanam, of this 16 kala purusha. Eka kala atishishta abhut. There was only one kala that was remaining. Sa annena upasamahita. Because it was nourished by food, then prajvali. Again it grew. Taya etarhi. And because of that, Vedan anubhavasi. You were able to chant the Vedas. You knew the Vedas. And he said, Annamayam hi somya manaha. You get it? Now the mind is made of food. Apomayam pranaha. Pranas are made of water. Tejomayi vak. The speech is made of fire. You get it? He says, yes. Vijajñau iti. I got it. So Shwetaketu had to go through this experiment. So what is Udalakarishi saying? That just like the whole world is made of these elements, this is also elements. Right? This is also elements. But when we look at each other, we don't see that. We say this is Mr. Sharma, this is Mr. Varma. We don't say this is food. These are 5 elements. Right? But if a tiger is looking at you, what will he see? Will he see Mr. Sharma, Mr. Varma? No. He'll think this is my food, this is my dinner. Okay? So this is actually food. This is actually elements. But we're just not looking at it in the right way. We think it is, this body, this is me, this is this shape, this size. No, that is not how a tiger or a lion will see it. They will see it just, this is my khana, this is my dinner, I'm done. Right? So, this is nothing but the 5 Pancha Mahabhutas. The mind is nothing but the 5 Pancha Mahabhutas, or 5 elements, 3 elements, whatever we call it. And in this we identify so much. That is quite surprising. Right? So Shwetaketu is calming down now. He has a question. He says, okay, wait a second. I'm understanding now, this is also 5 elements, this whole thing is 5 elements. But you said something, anena jivena atmana anupravishya, that atma enters into the jiva in the form of reflection. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? Could you tell me what is that about? I want to know. So now, Udalakarishi says, now I'm going to come to a different topic. See, the beauty of Udalakarishi, he's talking about things we do every day. We eat every day, we breathe every day, we speak every day. Correct? And we sleep every day. Now he's going to talk all about sleep. How to come to Sat, pure existence, through sleep. This is a very, very beautiful section. Okay? Now we're in section number 8. Are you awake or are you asleep? Awake? Okay, good. Udalako arunihi Shvetaketum putram uvacha Swapnantam me somya Vijanihi iti Yatra etat purushaha Swapiti nama Sata somya Tada sampanno bhavati Swam apito bhavati Tasmat enam Swapiti itya chakshate Swamhyapito bhavati. Okay, so Udalaka Rishi, and his name is also Aruni. Shvetaketu is Aruneya, Udalaka Rishi is Aruni. The father of Aruni is Aruna, right? Udalaka Rishi, Shvetaketu putram uvacha. He told his son, Shvetaketu, what? Swapnantam me somya vijanihi iti. Swapnantam here means in sleep. In sleep, vijanihi. You know me in sleep. Oh, know me in sleep. Yatra etat purushaha. Where that purushaha, the person, he is called swapiti. The person, he, she, whoever goes to sleep, they are called swapiti. The one who sleeps. Why? Sata somya tada sampanno bhavati. Because tada, there, sampannaha. They become united, sata, with sat. They become united with existence. We become united with existence when we sleep. I'll translate that and then the next part and I'll explain. Swam apitaha bhavati. Swam apitaha. Apitaha. We attain swam ourselves. Swam apitaha bhavati. We attain ourselves in deep sleep. Tasmat enam. And therefore, swapiti itya chakshate. Therefore, we are called swapiti. Swam hi apito bhavati. We attain ourselves in deep sleep. Now first let's look at deep sleep as a state. What exactly happens when we go to sleep? First of all, when we go to sleep, everyone's sleep is the same. Is it not? Right? You're sitting on an airplane. There is first class. And they have nice seats. Very, very big seats. There are lots of snacks and food and everything like that. Then we go to business class. Smaller seat. Less food. And less space also. Smaller TV, everything like that in business class. Then we come to economy and forget about the economy, right? There's no space, there is very less food, there's only cookies or chips, there's no proper food. And maybe once only they'll give us water and they're so cramped. So there are people in first class, in business class, in economy class. And it's different when we enter the plane. What happens when we go to sleep? They're first class there, second class, economy class. Swam apito bhavati. We attain ourselves. There is nothing. Deep sleep is the same for all of us. Huh? That's why we don't need to ask each other, what was in your sleep? We'll ask, how was your day? How was your day? Tell me about your day. Really, you had a dream? What was your dream about? Anybody will ask, what was in your sleep? No, because all our sleep is the same. What's happening in our sleep, you know? It was said that the reflection, we are that reflection, correct? The mind is the mirror, that jiva is the reflection, and this is Atma. When we go to sleep, because the mind is folded up, the reflection attains its original. Just like when I fold up a mirror, there's no more reflection. There's no more reflection, correct? The reflection merges with the original. The same way, when we sleep, the mind is folded up, and that reflection is going to Sat. It attains Sat. Now, what this tells us is very profound. That ego. That jiva is this ego. That jiva is the sense of I. That sense of I, we take that to be who we are. We take that to be who we are. I take myself to be Shubhani. You take yourself to be who you are. We identify so much with that personality. The whole life revolves around that personality. And what is that personality? It's only abhasa. It's just a reflection. And in deep sleep, we don't even have sense of that personality. There's no sense of that personality. Correct? How many hours you sleep? 6, 8. I'll make it 8 so my math is easier. Okay. So how many parts of the day we are sleeping? 1/3. 1/3. Correct? 1/3 sleeping. Now when we are sleeping, think about this deeply. There's no sense of the world. Yes? No sense of the world? Sleeping. No sense of the body? Sleeping. Yes? No sense of the mind. No sense of the ego. No sense of any experience. 1/3 of the day this happens. Huh? Correct? Now, how old are we all? Let us say, I'll take an odd number. Let us say we take ourselves to be 60 years old. Let us say 60 years old. Let's say. If we are 60 years old, even number, 60 years old, how much of our lives were we sleeping? 20 years. So 20 years you had no sense of who you were, no sense of the world, no sense of your body, no sense of the mind. Huh? If you're 45 years old, how many years? 15 years. No sense of your body, no sense of your mind, no sense of your personality, no sense of your ego. Just think about it. And we call it that real. Wow. That's the biggest joke. That's the biggest joke. That's what deep sleep is there to tell us, that listen, all this is not your nature. This is not who you are. Because if you're 45, 15 years, you did not exist for 15 years. Right? So how do we take that to be ourselves? How did that happen? And yesterday I told you that when something is your true essence, that will stay with you throughout. Right? The essence of sugar is sweetness. We agreed. The essence of fire is heat. We agreed. Right? Now, think of this example. You are boiling water. Yes? Correct? Before you boil water, everybody boils water, right? Before you boil water, it's cool. When we boil it, when it's in touch with the fire, it's hot. And then again after, it cools down. Correct? So is heat the nature of water? No, it's not. Right? Coolness could be the nature, but not heat. It has borrowed heat. For the time that it borrows heat, it is hot. Now think about the body. Sleep, it's not existing. Huh? In waking state, let us say it's existing. And again, if we go to sleep, it's not existing. So is existence its real nature? So just like the water has borrowed heat, the body has borrowed existence. Existence is not its real nature. It's not existing all the time. It's not the real nature. Take the mind. In deep sleep, the mind is not existing. In waking, it's existing. In dream, it's existing. In deep sleep again, it's not existing. So is existence its real nature? It has borrowed existence. It's borrowing existence from consciousness, from awareness. Correct? So something that has borrowed existence, how can that be true? Because it cannot exist without existence. So when we look at deep sleep, it is this beautiful state where we understand that, wow, all of this does not exist in deep sleep. In deep sleep, we are our essential nature. That reflection merges with that reality. Swam apito bhavati. Swapiti. And that's why, don't we all love to go to sleep? Correct? Right? Now, think of it this way also. In deep sleep, right, we are one with ourselves. There's no world, there's no body, there's no mind, there's no intellect. There's also no dvaita. There's no duality in deep sleep. Which tells us that duality is not also something that's absolutely real. Because in deep sleep, it's not there. There's no duality in deep sleep. There's no plurality. Right? Now, this is Sat. Now, how do we understand that Sat is also Chit and Chit is also Ananda? That Sat in deep sleep is not just existence, but it is an existence that is awareness. It is also an awareness. It is a very much aware thing, because we are all aware. When we come out of sleep, we are all aware. It's not that we died when we went to sleep, correct? Nobody died when they went to sleep. So it's not an inert existence, it's an existence which is awareness. Now we come to Ananda. Whenever we love something, we are willing to drop the lower, or that we're willing to drop not the lower necessarily, but something else for that. Correct? If we, let us say, want to watch a really, really nice movie, but and it's coming on and we haven't eaten and we really, really like the movie, we will let go of our hunger because we love the movie so much. Right? If we are busy doing work at home and our friend calls us because she's in trouble or he's in trouble, and we love that friend, well, drop that work. Right? Go for that friend. If we're nicely in our home, we're reading a book, we're relaxing, enjoying, and the child's crying, we'll drop the book and go to the child because we love the child. Now tell me, there's one thing we drop everybody and everything for. What is it? Sleep. No matter how much you love the person, how much you love the thing, to go to sleep, we will drop everybody. When it comes to sleep, we are absolute vairagis. We are absolute vairagis. We are very much detached. We are ready to detach with everybody because we are going to go to sleep. Why? Why do we like it so much? Because whenever we drop something for something else, that something else makes us happier. When we go to sleep, we are with ourselves, Ananda. We are with ourselves, Ananda. That pure experience of Ananda is there, but we don't know that it's coming from the self. We don't know that it's coming from the self. That pure experience of Ananda is there because the mind is folded up. The world is folded up. There's no object, no being, no thing. There's just that pure bliss. But we don't know that it is coming from our nature. So what does that go to show us also? We actually don't need anything to be happy. Correct? The happiest experience we have in the day is going to sleep. And there's no object required to gain happiness there. There is no person required to gain happiness there. There's no experience, there's no vacation required to gain happiness there. Simply we are happy. So the rishis knew this so well, that to experience happiness, of course sleep is one way, but in the waking state, to experience happiness, they knew that they didn't have to go run around here and there, back and forth. All they had to do is make the mind so still and so quiet so the Ananda would shine through that mind. That's all that has to be done. Any moment we want to be happy, you can be happy. Just make the mind quiet. And that happiness will come. Right? Immediately. It's free. Huh? So in Sat, when we go to sleep, it is that Sat, Chit, Ananda. We attain to to our true nature, and we don't even know it. And he says, every day this happens. If only we really thought deeply about deep sleep, then we would probably already understand who we truly are. So he says, Swam apito bhavati. Now, also in the Upanishad, it says something very, very nicely. It says that every time that we're dwelling on something that is other than our nature, we find fatigue, we find unrest. But whenever we are coming to our nature, we will find rest. And this is what he's telling us. He's trying to emphasize this sleep, how it is such a restful place when we know where we are, who we are. He's emphasizing this in this example. Sayatha shakunihi sutrena prabaddaha disham disham patitva anyatra ayatanam alabdva bandhanam eva upashrayate evameva khalu somya tanmano disham disham patitva anyatra ayatanam alabdva pranameva upashrayate pranabandhanam hi somya manaha. So Dalaka Rishi tells Shwetaketu, Sayatha shakunhi. Now you think of a bird, shakunhi. Sutrena prabadha. It's tied to a string. Think of a bird. There's a pole. So imagine there's a pole and there's a bird that's tied to a string. Disham disham patitva. It is trying to fly to other directions. Tied to a string, trying to fly to so many directions. Anyatra ayatanam alabdva. It is unable to find a resting place elsewhere. Bandhanam eva upashrayate. Finally, it comes to rest where it is tied. After trying so much, disham disham patitva, in all directions, it's flying all over. Anyatra ayatanam alabdva. It comes back. Bandhanam eva upashrayate. So he says, Eva meva khalu somya. The same way, Shwetaketu, tanmanaha, that mind, disham disham patitva, going all over so many places. Anyatra ayatanam alabdva, unable to find rest. Pranam eva upashrayate. That pranam is sat here. Only in sat, in pure being, it rests. Prana bandhanam hi somya manaha. Its resting place is only in sat. So the mind, no matter how much it will go out, it will always want to come back to sat. So we might as well already start going back to sat, isn't it? What happens when people go on vacation? Pack so much stuff. Take so many things, go here, disham disham patitva, go to so many places. But in the middle, they're like, we just want to go home. We just want to go home. And no matter how cozy the bed is in the hotel, no matter how good the food is, no matter how great the company is, we still feel unrest. There's nothing like going back home. And when we go back home, we're like, right? Prana bandhanam hi somya. We feel like amazing. So there's nothing like coming home. They say there's no place like home. But we will take it a little deeper. There's no place like Om. Right? There is no place like Om. all throughout our lives, disham patitva, we will keep going out to find something that will make us feel chill. Your chill pill, they say. Take a chill pill, relax. We go to the spa, the sauna, go for vacation, try this, try that, do all of these things. But until and unless we come home here to our true being, we will not find rest. We will not find rest. Our home will give us temporary rest, because again we have to go out. But once we are situated home, in our home, then there will be absolute rest. Absolute rest. Karmani akarmayah pashyet. Even amidst so many activities, so many actions, we will forever know that we are the non-doer, non-enjoyer. We are the true being, just witnessing everything around us. The stillness amidst all the movement. Amidst the movement of the body, the mind, the thoughts, amidst the movement of people, we are that stillness. We have never moved away from our true nature. We can't ever move. That is Sat. So Dalakarishi says to Shwetaketu, find that Sat, Shwetaketu, what are you doing? But he sees that Shwetaketu still is not able to find it. Not able to find it. So Dalakarishi says, we talked about food. We talked about sleep. Let's talk about something else, which everybody's feeling now. Hunger. So Dalakarishi said, I know what you're feeling. Through hunger, you come to Sat. Through food, you came to Sat. Through sleep, you came to Sat. Through hunger, come to Sat. How will we come to Sat? He says, Ashna pipase me sobyas vijanihi iti yatra etat purushaha ashishishati nama apa eva tadashitam nayante tadyatha gonayah ashwanayah Purushanayah ityevam tad apah achakshate ashanayeti tatra etat shungam utpatitam somya vijanihi iti na idam amulam bhavishyati iti. Extra iti. Navijanihi. So, Ashana pipase, he says, in hunger and thirst, you know Sat. Hunger and thirst. How? Ashana pipase me somya vijanihi. Know me in hunger and thirst. Know that in hunger and thirst. Yatra etat purushaha. When this being, purushaha, ashishishati nama, the name of the being is Ashishishati, means Ashitum Ichati, the one who likes to eat, the one who has hunger. Apa eva tat ashitam nayante. When do we feel hungry? When do we feel hungry? It says, when apa, that water, apa, water, when ashitam, that which is eaten, it leads it. So when water has led what has eaten, basically when water dries up what has been eaten, tadyatha, just like there's gonaya, there's a leader of cows, ashwanaya, there's a leader of horses, purushanaya, there's a leader of beings, tad apa achakshate, the people call it ashanaya. They call water ashanaya because it leads food. So when we eat food, how do we digest food? Through our saliva, through our juices. so that water, it enables us to digest food through our saliva, through our gastric juices. So it leads food out. It leads food. So water is called ashanaya. And this ashanaya, tatra etat chungam. So this sprout of food, that utpatitam, it has sprung up from something, right? Vijanihi. Know that naidam amulam. It is not without roots. So here, if we take it, right, that food, what happens is, it has a root. It has a root which is water. When we eat food, water leads it. But now he's going to say that something else leads water. So let us see what that is. Tasya kva moolam syat anyatra annad evameva khalu somya annena shungena apo moolam anvicha advisomya shungena tejo moolam anvicha tejasa somya shungena sanmoolam anvicha sanmulaha somya imaha sarvaha prajaha sad ayatanaha sad pratishtaha. So the question is, tasya kva moolam syat? Where could its root be apart from food? Tasya kva moolam syat anyatra annad. And he says, evam eva khalu somya, O somya, annena shungena. When you take food as a sprout, apo moolam anvicha. Know that water is the root. And then, advisomya shungena. If you take water as a sprout, tejo moolam anvicha. Know that fire is the root. Because what happens is, when we eat water with our saliva, we're able to chew, then the gastric juices help digest the food, then that water is dried up by fire, right? That's why they say digestive fire, right? So the root of food is water, the root of water is fire. And guess what's the root of fire? Sat. Tejasa somya shungena. That sprout, which is fire, sanmoolam anvicha. The root of it is sat. Sanmulaha. Sat is the root. Somya imaha sarvaha prajaha. Sat ayatanaha. Sat is the abode. Sat pratishtaha. Sat is the dissolution point. So, if you're coming through sat from hunger and thirst, then what a beautiful thing. Every time you eat, you can think of sat. Every time you eat, you can think of sat. Because when you eat, it gets to water, it gets digested through fire, and the root of fire is sat. Every time we're thirsty, we can think of sat. Why? Because the water is dried up by fire. And what is the root of fire? Sat. So sat is the root of everything, sat is the abode of everything, and sat is the dissolution point of everything. We'll read that one more verse in this, and then we will conclude. So he says, Atha yatra etat purushaha pipasati nama teja eva tat pitam nayate tadyatha gonayaha ashwanayaha purushanayaha ityevam tat teja achaste Udanya iti tatra etadeva shungam utpaditam somya vijanihi na idam amulam bhavishyati iti. Let's read the next one also so we can complete the thought flow. Tasya kamulam syat anyatra adbhi sobhya shungena tejo mulam anvicha tejasa somya shungena sangulam anvicha sangulaha somya imaha sarvaha prajaha sad ayatanaha sad pratishtaha yathanu khal somya imaha tisro devataha purusham prapya trivrit ekeka bhavati taduktam purastat eva bhavati asya somya purushasya prayataha vāmanasi sampadhyate manah prāne prānastejasi tejah parasyam devatayam. Okay. So I will just tell you what this means in a nutshell, and tomorrow we will see more of it. But basically, the exact same thing he said. That if you take water, water has to have a root. It's not without a root. So the root of water is fire. And that's why fire is called udanya. It's called udanya because it leads water. Water is called ashnaya, it leads food. Fire is called udanya, it leads water. And whatever you do, even that fire, it has to have a root. So what is the root of fire? It is only sat. And that sat is sanmula, that is the root. Sat ayatana, it is the abode, it's the sthiti. Everything is sustained in sat. And sat pratishta, it is the dissolution point. So no matter how you think about the world, we can go from what we started with. What we eat, the food that we eat becomes the mind. Water that we drink becomes the prana. The fire that we take in form of oil or ghee becomes our speech. And the root of that is sat. Because the root of all the elements is sat. When we sleep, swam abhitaha, we attain sat. We are pure being. We are our true selves in deep sleep. That's who we really are. Remember how old you are divided by 3. And remember for how much time you and I did not exist as this being. And in hunger and thirst, also think of Sat. And he also says, in death also you think of Sat. In death also you think of Sat. But what that is, I'll explain tomorrow. That portion again will come again in the later mantras. Tomorrow I'll give you the short form of that. And tomorrow the Mahavakya will come. I thought today it will come. But tomorrow, now, Tat Tvam Asi will come. Because now Uddalaka Rishi has established Sat is a substratum of the whole world consisting of elements. Sat is a substratum of me consisting of 3 elements. That Sat is this Sat. So tomorrow he will establish that. Then he will also come up with more examples and more beautiful stories. On the way from Uddalaka Rishi. Okay? Alright, we'll conclude. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamedavasyasya तमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो